Alrighty, fellas, good morning. What's up, PokeMMO community? How you doing today? My name's Patrouski. Welcome to our PokeMMO stream recap, your daily source of tips, tricks, information, discussion, and what's happening inside the PokeMMO community. First things first, I gotta shout out my not even my European viewers, but the European PokeMMO community. I know it's been a bumpy ride over the past 16 hours. I've been keeping tabs on it. I've been keeping aware of it. I want to talk about it. For those who don't know, there was a big server change in PokeMMO recently, as of like 16 hours ago, 20 hours ago, yesterday evening. There was a big server change. It did seem to be massively positive and positively impactful for most people. However, there is a part of the European community that is getting got really boned, and hopefully it seems to have been resolved a lot. There were a lot of European players who went from like 120 ping up to like 250 ping. That is, I think that's like unplayable. Like it's hard to justify something like that. I think it's gotten better. Now, since then, they've released a hot fix, a quick patch that you can go ahead and relaunch your game, install, and it should fix things to a decent degree. The goal is obviously, I think the players and the devs have the same goal, and we have to keep that in mind. All of our goals is to lower the ping for as many people as possible to as low as possible. I don't think they want any player base to have 200 plus ping. That's ridiculous. I logged in today and I had 130 ping. I'm currently sitting around 72, 70, 68 ping, so I'm doing okay. I'm happy with that. For a lot of people, it should have gotten better. Yeah, some Australian players saying they went from 300 to 240. This should be a massively positive change. However, I don't want those to be negatively affected to be ignored, and not like that's a really important part of the conversation, right? So I'm happy that this is overall a positive change, but I'm also feeling and empathizing for the European players. Anybody who is being affected negatively, like that sucks, especially like when you're egging. I'm hoping that it smooths out with more updates. The biggest thing is there's a big change, a big server change, and it's only been around for less than 20 hours as of right now. I'm hoping with just more time and more, adjustments, we smooth it all out. I'm guessing that it's just going to take a little bit of time to smooth it. And it already is mostly smooth for a lot of players once again, but some players are still experiencing issues, and we're ironing out the kinks there. So I think it hopefully with more time should be a overall amazingly it already is an overall amazingly positive change, but there's still some big problems that need to be solved. So hopefully we see those problems solved by the developers. Next thing, let's cover our news. And I appreciate hearing everyone's. I've been listening, trying to hear everybody's stories, everybody's perspective. Like a lot of people saying they're getting positive changes, a lot of people experiencing negative changes. It's really important to get that full picture as much as possible. Let's go ahead and cover catch events, though. There are catch events coming up in PokeMMO. There's one tomorrow, or today if you're watching the recap, on December 3rd, Wednesday at 1 p.m. ET. I'm excited for this time zone for this catch event. At Twist Mountain in Unova, you can catch Triagonal and Cubchoo and get nature bonuses of +3 for Adamant, +3 for Modest, and have a chance to win a shiny Cubchoo plus 1,000 RP, which is a perfect time to win that RP right before the Christmas event. I can't believe right now we're about 23 days away from the Christmas event, which is kind of insane. Like that fucked me up to hear out loud. That's so insane. So I'm excited to see what the hell happens there. Next up, Safari Zone catch event, I believe. Johto Safari Zone catch event over in the Marshland. This is on the 6th of December at 2 p.m. ET in the Safari Zone Johto Marshland. You can catch Coughing, Ekans, Arbok, and Grimer over here. Have a chance for a shiny Arbok. Why would you ever pick Ekans? Arbok is so much better. Shiny Arbok chance and 500 RP. They're evening out the RP a bit more. Not to reply, what the hell? They're evening out the RP a bit more over for this event, which I think is fine. I've talked about this. I think it's cool to see first place gets less RP with this reward structure, but third and fourth place get more. And if you're already winning a free shiny, like as someone who's won and placed in catch events, I don't mind getting less RP as the first place player so that the third and fourth can get more. I'm already winning a shiny. I don't really, I don't mind that. There is also the Twitch 2025 recap. We will be covering this in great detail and doing a full video on this, but I'm not going to bore you guys with the detail in the stream recap. If you want to watch the video, hell yeah. There'll be some chatters, like names who pop up. I think that's one of the coolest elements, is like appreciating the Twitch chatters who are active and hang out and talk and all these things. Because like what makes a good streamer, it's so much of the chat. I say this all the time, like streamers can do it's best case scenario 50-50. Literally best case scenario, chat, the streamer is like entertaining 50%, and the chats that bounce off, that back and forth mechanic, that back and forth banter matters so much when it comes to streaming. So to take us into my chat would be phenomenal. Let's continue on with the community showcase, one of my favorite segments of the stream recap. Let's go ahead and talk about it. First things first, Zipper got a shiny egg Chikorita, something he's been hunting for a very, very long time because they got it at 39,000 eggs, almost 40,000. 39,440 eggs for this Chikorita. To give you an idea, I bet Zipper's gonna get a little knot in his stomach as we calculate these numbers, as I would. To give you an idea of how much this cost, that is going to be an average of 5,000 Pokeyen per Ditto times 39,440. This Chikorita, most likely, it's such a big number, it goes off the calculator. This Chikorita, oh goodness gracious, this Chikorita most likely cost Zipper almost 200 million Pokeyen to hunt. 200 million Pokeyen consumed. That is not assuming the cost of shiny charms, of donator status. That's going to crank that number up. It is expensive to shunt an egg shiny. It is expensive to get a rare. Not to mention the time. The time that Zipper put into this. This guy, it's so crazy. We get desensitized to egg and rare shinies like this. This is a monumental lifetime achievement. Most people, I would bet you that less than 1% of players in Pokemon will ever get an egg shot. Maybe less than that. Maybe it's like 0.01. I'm really curious the math on that. I don't know the numbers, but I would guesstimate it's a very, 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 very small percentage of players that will ever get an egg shiny within PokeMMO or a rare of any sort. Next up, one of the most unique journeys, unique players I've ever seen. This is Moongrab, okay? And I love what they're doing. Moongrab is really trying to hunt a shiny legendary. This is something that is not really feasible in PokeMMO. Like right now, it's not really doable because the problem is you can only get one legendary encounter in Kanto and Johto per month. So you get 2 encounters per month. We don't know the shiny rate is actually a hidden behind the scenes metric for legendaries. We don't know what it is. We don't even know the encounter of the legendary itself. The encounter for the legendary is somewhere between 1 in 2,000 and 1 in 8,000, but we don't know what that exact number is. And this is just crazy to me. Look how many legendaries this person has hunted. We see what, 4, 5, 6, 7. This person has probably caught every single legendary since the release of, like, almost all of them since their release. 7 Articunos. Is that 10 Zapdoses? 9 Moltres, I believe. Or 8 Suicunes. This is just insane. This is just insane. This is such consistency over a long period of time. This is such a cool, dedicated. He's been hunting these for probably at least a year. At least a year would be my guess, if not longer. And he's got alt accounts doing all of it as well. Maybe with the alt accounts, to be fair, maybe he's doing it in like a few months, but it's hard to tell. So just amazing work from him. I wish him the best of luck. It is a tall order to hunt for a legendary, is what we call it in Pokemon, but good luck to you, man. Moongrab. Next up, unfortunately, Ali lost himself a shiny Hoppip, but then just 1,000 encounters later, got himself a shiny Litwick. You love to see the redemption. Shiny Hoppip, one of the most dangerous shinies to catch in Pokemon. Uses access to Rage Powder, Memento. Can be a really, really scary shiny to actually catch when you get it in the horde itself. I love shiny Hoppip personally. Next up, Agathea, a player who was really stuck on getting Heatran. It's a really tough fight. I think it's a really important thing to remember how difficult Heatran is for the average player. And like, I think a lot of times we get, myself, and when I say we, I mean myself. I think sometimes we as endgame players, and I'm, barely in that range, but like sometimes endgame players in Pokemon forget what the average plight of the average player is and how hard things are. And I've seen people, I've seen new players join Pokemon and be like, oh, how hard are raids? And endgame players be like, oh, they're piss easy. And it's like, no, they're really not easy if you're a new player. They're easy if you have all the PVM mons that you have stocked up and you know all the strategies and you've done them before, but it's difficult. It's really, really hard. This person, Agathea, spent 3 days battling Heatran and finally was able to take it down, and that is an accomplishment if I've ever seen one. Congratulations to them, as well as they are currently shunting. So they're playing all parts of the game. They beat Heatran. They're also getting into shiny hunting. We can see 2 Bibarel phases on the way to a Ralts shunt is my guess. I'm hoping that they can get some good luck there. Really solid shunts here, 32,000 encounters and then 23k for 2 Bibarels. That's a good solid foundation. They said they were pretty bummed about it. They're really hoping for Ralts, obviously, and that's a really good. I think you're putting in the work. Gotta just keep going, and that's the hard truth of PokeMMO, is that You can't really control the outcome to some extent with shiny hunting. All you can do is never give up. And as long as you never give up, you will eventually win. As long it's an endurance game, it's an endurance test. PokeMMO is all about your survivability and testing your resolve. At least shiny hunting. To be fair, let me qualify. Shiny hunting is all about never giving up. So good luck to you, Agathea. That is the achievement showcase for today. I'm going to go ahead and jump into the game and actually play some of the video game. Do my Jimmy run. I've really been enjoying my Ironman account. If you have not seen the series, go check it out on my channel. It's a great way to see how to like kick off your account. If you're a new player in PokeMMO, check out my Ironman series. My Touch Grass series was a really good, in my opinion, good series, a secretly good series on how to start as a new player. It wasn't just, you know, touching grass. It wasn't just getting your steps in and, you know, being outside. It was also, hey, if I were a new player in PokeMMO, this is what I would do. I would buy an HM Dragonite. I would get a Jimmy Run team. And this is how much I paid for it and how to make Pokeyen from scratch. Making Pokeyen from scratch is tough right now in PokeMMO. And I'm trying to cover that in a lot more detail and hopefully help some of these new players out. Thank you guys for watching. Like the video if you enjoyed it. Dislike if not, that's okay. Subscribe to the channel for daily PokeMMO videos, and let's jump into the action. Great question from Oliver in chat. What are the cosmetic changes about? I'm gonna hop over to my main account really quick so I can show you. That was a really good question. I don't actually have anything. I don't believe I have anything on the Ironman account where I can show that change. It's a pretty small change for the most part, I believe. But it is a nice. So I think the Skull helmet has it. Let's go double check. They made a change where you can more easily adjust your style, more like, and I think. So let's put on the orange flaming skull, right? So when you put on the orange flaming skull, it looks like this, and I think the change is being able to click it like that and then turn it off. I think that, so it's a little more flexibility, which like it's a really small little thing, but in my opinion. It's extra flexibility in your outfits, extra flexibility in your vanities, extra flexibility in your expression, which is super important. Vanities and personal expression is so important on an MMO. When you're loading into a game, to look at that screen for thousands of hours, every single, you know, year perhaps, right? You better like your character. You better like the way your character looks. You better like your username. You have to like enjoy all of those elements because it makes up of what your account is, what your experience is. It really affects, you know, it's like living in a home that's like dirty. So, like that really bothers some people. They won't be able to be happy. It really, you know, you have to factor in to really put some care and effort into your visual experience because it will impact your mood and your enjoyment of the game. Just like why having, you know, the IGN femboy is so important. That probably makes this guy like extremely happy. So you really just gotta factor in those kind of little details. Wait, yes, thank you, Stuart, over in chat. Yes, this is a better representation of the change. So it says Flaming Demon Skull alt versus Flaming Demon Skull over in the customization tab. Yes, good call. So you can see it a lot more clearly while you're over. I also love, I think this character customization tab is super underutilized. I mean like myself, I don't use it enough. This is very, very cool. That's a really cool, that's awesome. That's sick to see. Dude, I don't know why I've completely forgotten about this. This is a legitimate thing to bring up. In case we get a Mew raid, what do you think the best Pokemon will be? I mean, for a Mew raid, probably just dark type attackers. I do want to touch on, there is a really decent chance we see, well, it's a good question. The main raid that we're looking at is going to be what is going to take over the Alpha Suicune raid, or will we even get something? So there are 12 Christmas raids coming up. Then there is Jirachi, and then last year there, and it's almost, I would say it's a 95% chance that we see the same Christmas raids from last year this year, because we've seen the same Halloween raids from the past 2 years or so back to back to back. So I think if that pattern continues, there's a very like 95% chance the raids, that 12 raids we saw last year for Christmas, will be the same ones this year. Keep that information in mind. You can use that you can abuse that and prepare ahead of time, right? And I have tons of guides coming out on that hopefully very soon. I'm working really hard on getting Activist prep guides ready as soon as possible, but it's been a slow moving thing, so my apologies. Hopefully they're well researched and well presented. Now Mew, though, the devs have talked about that Mew is one of the legendaries they've talked about adding to the game. Like, Mew is one of the ones they've said that they really have looked at. I think Mew and Victini were the big ones. They said they've really, like, thought that those are, like, the most viable legendaries that could get added permanently, from my understanding. And then in terms of what would be good against a Mew raid, I don't know if we'll need some sort of heal block mons. Keep kind of going on the rock. Like, heal block is really good. And then, like, Gothitelle or Smeargle heal block or whatever. As well as, I think of things like Shiftry, Sucker Punch Mons, Shiftry, Dark type attackers into the Mew, Shiftry, Honchkrow, Maybe some bug type attackers. You can see Pinsir coming out. Pinsir can double as a bug type and a fighting type attacker, which is relevant. So there's a lot of Scizor is not one of the best raid Pokemons. It's really better if you already have a Scizor for PvP, you can use it. Yep, Assurance is fantastic in raids. Assurance, Sucker Punch. Usually you want like one Sucker Punch. Raids are 4 people, so you want one Sucker Puncher and then like 3 Assurancers to get all that extra damage. Titar is tough. Titar is a good Dark type physical attacker, but it also sets Sand, which is not something you always want to do. But it doesn't matter a whole lot in raids, because so many raids are just DPS fights where like you're never actually going to survive one attack from the opponent. You know, you're just going to die. So Crocodile is fantastic. There's just so many good. Crocodile. Last year, I was actually doing some research. Last year during one of the raids, Skuntank was actually used. I don't have a Skuntank. I need to potentially make a raid or PVM Skuntank. That's one of the really niche ones that I do not have. So there are some mons. I've been doing a lot of research, and hopefully those guides will come out in great detail very, very soon. And you should be able to be fully prepared for the 12 Christmas raids and the Jirachi, which are like, I think 95% chance those stay mostly the same. There might be some nerfs and buffs or rebalancings, but the real question is, will we see a new raid in place of the Alpha Suicune or not? That was a big discussion last year, was like so let me qualify. Alpha Suicune will not return. That was, I believe, guaranteed by the devs. They said that Alpha Suicune will not return next year in the same way. They said that one day it might return. I could be mistaken, but that's what I recall. That's what I'm remembering. I don't have a source on that. So I believe the devs said the Alpha Suicune would not return in the same way next year. But maybe I'm wrong. We'll just have to see. With event stuff, it's always up for... I try to put percentages on things because... there's always, I never talk in absolutes. I like to leave room for space. Yeah. And then, so I'm getting lost in the conversation. Yeah. So I think the most likely thing would be some sort of, I think the most likely thing would be to see a different alpha legendary raid, like an alpha Raikou, an alpha Entei, something like that. Or even, I don't know if we'll just see a Mew, but there was a large discussion last year, like Alpha Suicune dropping in the middle of the event unexpectedly, and also being one of the hardest raids. That a lot of players did not like that because it was so difficult. They had to like crack the code on top of doing all the 12 other raids. It was just so much and so intense. There's a really good argument that like during Christmas time, the time to spend with your family and decorate and presents, everybody's exhausted. Do we really need a 14th raid? Like, you know, like, do we really need another one, right? Is the big question. So we'll see if that even happens, if they even take the time to replace the Suicune raid. All right, someone said that they buffed the A, like Ctrl A or like A thing. Is that the buff? That still feels rough, I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna compare it to mashing. I wouldn't mind to see this buffed a little bit more. I do think that mashing should be like the fastest. I think human, like, more effort should be more reward in games. I'm gonna try to mash and see how much faster it is. I'm gonna spend this whole fight like comparing them. Let's see, side by side. I'm gonna spam here. Okay, like that was obviously much faster. Let's try to do the they changed it from 0.8 to 0.5. It's a pretty big change. It didn't feel like that to me. It didn't feel like that much of a change on my first attempt. Let's try again. I'm gonna hold the A button here. The little Charlie Brown music on in the background. I'm gonna hold the A button here. It's still a little too slow in my opinion. I'm gonna be so, and I'm on the camp of I want mashing to be faster, but that's I could see that sped up a little bit. It's better, but even then I think it's a little too slow for what it needs to be. In my personal opinion, there's no right or wrong answer here. This is a very niche situation that I don't think affects most people, but I'm so glad you asked it. You said, is Alpha Blastoise locked out of Water Spout? I haven't touched my Alpha Squirrel since I got it, but I don't think Water Spout is able to be bred onto it. I think you're correct. The reason why is you would need access to an Alpha Whalmer, and I don't think that exists in the game. Because you need Whalmer you need Whalmer and Remoraid / Artillery to be able to breed over the Water Spout, cross the egg groups, and get it over onto a Squirtle. So if there is no Alpha Whalmer, no Alpha Artillery, which I don't believe exist, I don't think you can. Yeah, I don't know if either exist. Yeah, you cannot get Water Spout onto Blastoise because it's a chain egg move. Great question. This is a really good Iron Man proposition / question. Gribbles said, personally, I don't mind if Irons buy RP. It's like letting them get bonds and OSRS to keep membership. They still have to grind to keep up the raw cash instead of doing more effective cash grinding. I think if Iron Man could buy Donator status or like Shiny Charms, with like, I think that's fine. And that would honestly be a way for them to make the game a little bit more profitable. I think that is fine. I don't know how I feel about... Well, no. The problem is I don't want Iron Man to be able to credit card swipe to gain an advantage, or have to credit card. So that's the whole point of the Iron Man, game mode, is like not resorting to like the market stuff, right? You want an Iron Man account to be, you have to earn everything yourself. No, I don't know if there's a way to make it work, unfortunately. Because the problem is, if someone could credit card swipe and buy donor status permanently, where another Iron Man isn't, they're just going to be at a constant advantage because they paid. The point of the Iron Man game mode is to get rid of that. If you were irritated by like pay for advantage in PokeMMO, Iron Man account is your solution. You can either complain, the devs are going to keep adding mysterious balls and keep adding, unfortunately, I don't like them, but like you can either keep complaining about it or quit the game or play an Iron Man account. The whole point of an Iron Man account is to play the game in a way that I enjoy and like ignore all the noise, ignore mysterious balls, ignore all those market changes or lack of alpha nerfs, and still have fun, right? So sometimes we as players need to take accountability and responsibility to our own hands and play the game in a different way if you aren't having fun, right? Or don't play the game at all, which is nothing wrong with. I think a lot of times video game players in general feel a lot of shame these days when like quitting a game or moving on from a game, which I don't feel like should be there. Like, games come in and out of our lives. We used to go buy Spyro, play it for 12 hours, and then move on, and go play Crash Bandicoot or go on to that, or like whatever, right? We didn't like, no one ever loaded up Spyro and said, I'm gonna play this game for the rest of my life, and if I don't, I'm gonna be sad about it. Like, not every game is meant to be played. Most games aren't gonna be played forever. You kind of just have to give and take with how you enjoy it. It's okay to move on from a game, or it's okay to play a game differently, or try to change up and find how you can enjoy the game, especially in a sandbox game, like PokeMMO, in my opinion. All right, fellas, I think I'm gonna go ahead and just call it there. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you liked the stream and the stream recap. Like the video if you did, dislike if not, subscribe to the channel for daily PokeMMO videos every single day. I do upload a video every single day. Follow me on Twitch for streams Monday through Thursday at 12 p.m. ET. Discord's down below if you're interested in that. If you want to go above and beyond and support the content, YouTube memberships, Twitch primes, Twitch subs, things like that, super helpful. Have a great day. Play PokeMMO. Enjoy yourselves. I'll see you guys later. Have a good one. Peace, Reno. Yo, what's up? Outro Patrouski here. I wanted to take this second to say thank you so much for watching the entire video. It is thanks to people like you I'm able to make the content that I do, as well as everybody whose name is listed here. That's it for me. Have a fantastic day.